40 years ago, the doctor left on a boat. He'd never seen the snow or felt it in his hand. Sail until you see dry land. 14 hours by car, cargo trucks and cabs, just to shake the cops. But Mom had to stay back, a Chinese safe house and covered tracks.
49 years have passed. April 30, 1975, and the horrific border crossing stories are still imprinted in the memories of overseas Vietnamese. Especially this year 2024, the two films A Realm of the Return and Boat People, 50-Year Journey, have been warmly received. Films, documentaries, and monuments of the boat people have appeared after 2000 in many Western countries and refugee camps in Galang, Pulau Bidong, Malaysia. The two words, boat people, are known to the world, marking a painful historical period of the Vietnamese nation after the event on April 30, 1975. Each boat people has its own cross-border memories. Miraculously, the Buddha appeared, and boats sank under the weight of the sea and were pushed into the surface of the water by the whale. And there are many thrilling stories, such as legends and myths, in addition to tragic and creepy events. Pirates raping women, murdering and looting, cannibalism, drifting into the desert island for a long time before being rescued by a helicopter. The family of 9 or 10 people only survived 1 or 2. When we crossed the border, there were no supernatural miracles, but there were very rare and unbelievable events, strange events. A 4-year-old girl gave her water spoon to the younger one. At midnight, she went to the roof of the boat to pick up seawater to drink and fell into the sea. Early next morning, a shaggy great white seabird perched on the roof of the boat. That very night, a single ship appeared majestically on the surface of the sea, glancing in the distance and in the darkness. 5 girls raised their hands and waved as if sending an SOS signal. When the ship approached, the Soviet flag was clearly visible, and they retreated into the cabin of the boat in a panic, trembling like a civet, holding their breaths and their hearts pounding in their chests. In November 1981, the relationship between Vietnam and the Soviet Union was very close. Even now, Vietnam still has close relations with Russia, even though the Soviet Union was no longer there. The Vietnamese people who left the country were illegal. The captain knew that, but he did not have a heart to leave the miserable border-crossing boat begging for international humanity, even though it was a ship of the Soviet Union. China, the Soviet Union, and Eastern European countries belonging to the Communist bloc do not belong to the United Nations High Commissioner for Refugees. At first, they refused outright, only accepting help to pull back to Vietnam. This Cà Mau Cape in Vietnam's territorial waters. For political reasons, Soviet ships, even merchant ones, were not allowed to help boats cross the border to leave the country to seek asylum. The Soviet Union was a comrade of Vietnam. I knocked on the wrong door. What should I do? I'm a crossing border boat and waved to the Soviet ship to be safe. Who knows, from a distance, it seemed to be Caritas. Whoever waved the Soviet ship, come out and talk to them. Tell them to go, mistaken for Caritas. But not in time. The Soviet ship turned off when it approached the tiny boat, like a giant in front of a tiny man. They must turn off the engine, otherwise the border crossing boat would sink. They asked, "Why are you waving at them? What do you want?" "You can talk to them. Captain, co-captain, chief engineer, assistant engineer and driver have studied in the U.S. The voice emphasized, "They want to meet and interact with women." It was strange. Why he only talked to women? Wasn't it possible that in the Soviet Union, women were more respected and admired than men? Janvi Mailan pushed me out. "You go up. You provoked us to wave." Needless to say, I walked away, looking for a plan to postpone. Which lane to take? A sharp sound like screaming in the ears. Living in a boat for more than 2 weeks without knowing where the nose engine room is? I raised my voice. "I can't see the road at night. Whoever knows, go up." Passing the machine room, I stopped. "Give me a glass of water." After drinking, I returned the glass. The young man looked at me stunned and shouted, "Empty the glass? Don't leave a single drop?" I said casually, "That's how I can talk to the Soviet ship." Outside, the sea breeze was cold. Like the corpse of a tick, I trembled in a worn, thin shirt. The ship was as tall and majestic as a 5-story building. The crossing boat was like a low hut. I staggered on the roof of the boat. Lord, just a wind gust, I would fall into the sea like a leaf. Fortunately, it was quiet at that time. Suddenly, I was no longer trembling. The man, who appeared to be a captain, holding a loudspeaker, spoke clear English and asked if we needed their help. I rolled up the cover like a loudspeaker and said, "Our lost boat floats on the sea for 15 days and nights. Please pull us to the international waters for the salvage ship." That was it. How could I ask the Soviet ship to pick up the boat to cross the border? They did not show the way to international waters, but asked if we wanted to return to Vietnam. They showed direction. This belonged to Vietnamese waters. Lord, 15 days and nights floating, without compass, sea table, just looking at the stars to find the direction. Now it was still around. Asked the boatman, "Go back to Vietnam?" "Go back right away. Vietnam still have water to drink anyway. Not to this kind of suffering. If you continue to go, you will only die. Another opinion. No, definitely not back. Die anyway. It's better to die at sea. The story went, there was a boat that was towed back to Vietnam. Arriving at the place, seeing the image of Ho Chi Minh, the whole boat fainted. Many moans in the cabin. Didn't they pick us up? Why are they so evil? We're going to die. Ask them to pull the boat to the international waters for the ships to pass by and pick us up. We've been there 3 days ago. Hundreds of ships passed by, including American ships, but none of them came to pick us up. Silently prayed, thinking about family, preparing oneself for the worst to happen. This faithful cross-border boat went on an adventure on water, bringing only the heart, no compass, no navigation. The machine occasionally died running. The mechanic was not professional, but he just took the opportunity to go for free. There were many times it was floating on the water like a sailing boat depending on the wind. Last night, the pirates came to chase it. Suddenly the engine started, and the boat ran around, escaping the pirates. The boat was punctured, the seawater overflowed, and needed to be scooped away. It's flooded. Whose turn is it? Come on, if you have the strength, do it as if you are helping it. Throw into the sea, was used as a premonition spell. One is a lazy person, the other is willingly a big helper, said the elderly. In the middle of the dangerous boundary between life and death, the instinct of greed for life and fear of death rose, and people became extremely fierce. Fighting for food, lying on the boat to avoid work. Often verbal fighting even in the dark without seeing each other's face were just to reduce stress. The water brought to the boat was only enough for 3 days. No problem. In November, the sea would be calm, and the boat would arrive in international waters after 3 days as planned. Everyone cheered with joy and waited for the moment to be safe. Unfortunately, encountering a sudden thunderstorm, the boat had to move to avoid the storm and then got lost and drifted aimlessly until now was the 15th night. There was no drinking water left. Seawater was distilled into fresh water. One person got 2 tablespoons of water in the morning and in the evening. Everyone opened their mouths in anticipation of the time when water would be distributed. After leaving the country, one was losing water. The people of the South did not leave the country. Where else was the country to go away? The people of the South, because of the loss of their country, has to risk their lives to cross the border to find life in death.
18 meters long, 200 bodies full, a simple compass and a map from a kid's geography book. Forget Ferdinand or Captain Cook. Bodies bobbing in a rough South China Sea. Came ship, scavenging. Rip the doctor from his kids, bleeding.
The loudspeaker from the ship echoed in the distance, and the boat engine room could be heard clearly. The sound from my paperboard speaker shouldn't be like that. The two mechanics standing next to me immediately asked, "Can you ask them for direction to international waters?" Of course, but it didn't work. They said they were on a business trip across international water. If we want to go back to Vietnam, they pull back or show us the way back. This belonged to the water of Vietnam. The whole boat wanted to keep going. Just one family. The other person continued. "We told them to jump into the sea and swim back to Vietnam." The mechanic who gave me a glass of water just said it. Some boats are rejected, but after hearing the plea, "We are citizens of the Republic of Vietnam, who are now at loss of our homeland. Please open your heart to us. Have mercy on us." Then the situation changes immediately. I can't do that. The name of the sacred Republic of Vietnam is noble and nostalgic, in the heart of mourning and remembrance. It cannot be used to beg for the favor of the world's people, for their conscious humanity, financial aid. Don't be pretentious. Our lost boat has been floating for 15 days and nights, and it's very exhausting. Just 10 more days like that, we'll drown in water and starve to death. How can you see the whole boat people die? Where there's life, there's hope. This is the last chance to survive that cannot be missed. Throw into the sea. Threatening at this time was useless. If I died, who would work? Have the boats one last time? Tell the captains to beg them like that. Bring the honor of the Republic of Vietnam. Both of them were insistent and softened their voices. You know, they don't listen to us. Men are useless at this time. They only listen and talk to women. Being put in an awkward situation, I didn't know what to do. Put away the pride of narcissism and take the honor of the lost southern fatherland to beg the humanitarian conscience of the world, the Soviet ship, belonging to the other side. Are they the country of Western capitalism, the free world? Being rejected is very humiliating. It is definitely impossible to do so. Swallowing pride, to have people in distress, is the right thing to do. It is okay to humble yourself to the Soviet Union. At that time, the United States and the Soviet Union were also leading the world. The United States abandoned the Republic of Vietnam, so the Republic of Vietnam lost the battle. The Soviet Union did not abandon the Democratic Republic of Vietnam, so the North Vietnamese communists won the war. The fundamental difference is there. Do not judge a hero regarding his success or failure. Do not consider winning or losing to value a hero. Dien Bien Phu in 1954, if it was not for the Soviet Union supplying weapons and ammunition, and Chinese Communist Party as military advisors, how could the Viet Minh defeat France? Changing my mind, I decided to put my proud narcissism aside. My voice trembled, but remained calm. I choked up and said in the paper cover speaker, "We are citizens of the Republic of Vietnam. Unfortunately, the Republic of Vietnam's collapsed. We had to surrender and risk our lives to cross the sea to find new lives. The 3 days ago, we went to international waters and saw hundreds of ships from Western European countries, including American ships. We displayed SOS signs asking for help, but they all ignored us. A few days later, 2 young men were missing at sea after hugging empty water cans and swimming with the ship to be rescued. Because we had to leave in a hurry to avoid being tracked by the police, we did not bring a compass. The boat encountered a storm and was diverted and drifted aimlessly for 15 days and nights. Getting off the seat of 125, now there are 105 people. Please have mercy to show the boat the way to international waters. We thank you very much. All the best. God bless you." After saying the last 3 words, I was startled. Oh my gosh, the Soviet Union were atheistic, Marxism, not America. But saying God bless you for destroying the work. I was disappointed and blamed myself. But strangely to my surprise, the captain held a loudspeaker and pointed away. "This direction is to international waters, long distance kilometers. There is a drilling rig ship working there. Coordinates 300 kilometers." The captain on the nose of the boat clearly noted with great happiness. The mechanic who gave me a glass of water softly reminded me, "Our boat ran out of gasoline. Please try to beg them to provide enough gasoline to run to international waters and some food and drinks. On the boat, there are many elderly, children, and especially women." Once again, I had to play the role of a beggar. As I said earlier, we left in a hurry, so we didn't bring enough food and water. We had to distill seawater, so the salt evaporated less to drink, and each person only got 2 tablespoons of water in the morning and in the evening. Last night, a thirsty girl came out of the boat to scoop up seawater with a bucket and fell into the sea to die. We had no food and were lost. The boat was floating for 15 days and nights and ran out of gasoline. Please give us enough petrol to run to international waters and some food, drinking water, milk for children. A large net dropped at the nose of the boat included a barrel of gasoline, a few cans of drinking water, rice, bread, milk, and cheese. The 2 mechanics shouted happily, "That's abundant! We won't use them up till reaching international waters. We have profit." I could hear the giggles echoing from the ship to the roof of the boat where I was standing, clearly seeing white faces with smiles. They pitied the poor or despise this poor little boat. I did not understand. I could not understand or guess what the Soviet Russian people were thinking of us, the exiled beggars of humanity's conscience. A feeling of shame for refugee status suddenly surged in my heart. The Soviet ship slowly moved away from our boat, gently and quietly, as when it arrived. The ship's engines had not yet started. They had to shut down the engines because the pressure of the engines would sink the border-crossing boat. I watched as the Soviet ship grew farther and farther away, disappearing into the darkness. 2 rows of tears rolled down on my cheeks.
No, I can't change.